Okay, so an arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the same number is added over and over. Okay, so that's going to be easy to remember because arithmetic begins with an A and so does added. Okay, so if you look at that first sequence, 2, 3, 4, 5, obviously the next three numbers are 6, 7, and 8. And the D stands for the difference, and it's just the number that keeps getting added every single time. So this D is obviously just a 1, okay? The next one, 5, 10, 15, 20, this would be 25, 30, and 35, and on that one your D is a what, everybody? It is a 5. Good. Okay, this one they're getting smaller. So 16 to 13, 13 to 10, 10 to 7, 7 to, what's the next one going to be? 4, and then it's going to be 1, and then it's going to be -2, and that's okay if they're negative. So on this one, sometimes the D's are negative. If the numbers are getting smaller, then it's a negative. It's like subtracting. Okay, so what are we subtracting every time? 3, yeah. So your D's a -3. Okay, all right, so look what we have. If n equals 1, right underneath that, put n equals 1. If n equals 1, you have an A. If n equals 2, you have A plus D. N equals 3, A plus 2D. N equals 4, A plus 3D. So obviously the next term is A plus, what would this be? Somebody tell me. 4D, and then A plus 5D, and then A plus 6D. Underneath that, let's put n equals 5, n equals 6, and n equals 7. Okay, so A is the same thing as A sub 1. I'll use those interchangeably. They mean the same thing. And that just stands for the first term. Okay, D stands for the common difference. That means the thing you're adding every single time. Okay, so let's come up with a formula for the nth term. Okay, so look at that sequence. Every term has an A. Okay, so I'm going to go A plus. And then it has some kind of a D. Okay, now look at this. If n is a 1, there is no D. If n is a 2, there's 1 D. 3 is a 2D, 4 is a 3D, 5 is a 4D, etc., etc. So the D gets multiplied by, somebody tell me. Let's think about it. N is a 4, you have a 3. N is a 5, you have a 4. N is a 6, you have a 5. What is it? N minus 1. Yes. Okay, I want you to take that and I want you to box it. That's something you're going to have to memorize. Write the word memorize on there. Okay. You use this A sub n if you're looking for a specific term. So if they say find the 10th term or the 100th term or something like that. Okay. Okay, so let's go with example 1. You have a formula. This is arithmetic. List the first 4 terms. Find A, find your D, and find the 40th term. Okay, let's find the first 4 terms. So let's go A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3, and A sub 4. So guys, one thing I need you to understand, on A sub 1, n is 1. On A sub 2, n is 2, then n is 3, and then n is 4. You wouldn't necessarily have to write that down, but you need to understand that, okay? So the sweet thing is they give you a formula. So this is just 3 times 1 plus 5 because n is 1. And that gives you 8. Now n is 2. So it's just 3 times 2 plus 5. That's 6 plus 5, which is 11. The next one, 3 times 3 plus 5. That's 9 plus 5, which is 14. This is 3 times 4 plus 5. That's 12 plus 5, which gives you 17. Okay, so the first 4 terms, you really should write them like this: 8, 11, 14, 17. Okay, and then they also want the following things. They want A, and they want D, and they want the 40th term. Okay, so somewhere write this down: 40th term. I need you to understand the symbolism for the 40th term. is a sub 40, because a sub 1 is the first one, a sub 2 is the second, a sub 3 is the third, so a sub 40 is the 40th term. Okay, so those are the other three things that I need to find. Well, I can see that the first term is an 8. Okay, and then to find the difference, what do I add to 8 to get 11? 3. Is 11 plus 3 14? Yes. 14 plus 3 17? Yes. So I can see that my D is 3. And then the only other thing I have to do is find the 40th term. Now there's two different ways to do it. Here's one way. Everybody go a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. This is the method. I'm going to show you two different ways. This is really what you need to do, what I'm about to do. Okay, so you're going to say my 40th term is a sub 40. That's my first term, which is an 8, plus the common difference, which is a 3. And then 40 minus 1 is 39. Okay, so everybody go 8 plus 3, parenthesis, 39, close it off, hit enter, and I get 125. So a sub 40 is 125, and we're done. Okay, now freeze right there for just a second. I'm going to show you another method for finding the 40th term. So everybody go a sub 40 is equal to, use that formula they gave you. So it's 3 times 40 plus 5, which also gives you 125. Now, the reason I really would rather you not use that method is because they're not usually going to give you that formula right there. So if you don't give the formula, I want you to know what to do, and that would be to use the formula we just wrote down above. Okay? All right, so that was example 1. Here is example 2. Find the nth term of an arithmetic sequence with the first term of 7 and a common difference of 5. Then find the 51st term. Okay? So everybody take that nth term right there, and I want you to highlight it or circle it. It's kind of weird because they didn't ask me for the 10th term or the 21st term or the 36th term. They asked me for the nth term. Well, I don't know what n is. They didn't tell me, right? So if they say the nth term, then I want you to know that you're going to have an n in your answer. So when you get an n in your answer, don't panic because they asked you for the nth term. Okay? So let's write down what we know. We know that a sub 1 is 7. We know the difference is 5. So what they want is, first they want the nth term, and then they want a sub 51, which is the 51st term. Okay? So everybody go a equals a, a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. Okay, so if they want the nth term, then I don't put anything in for n. I just leave it an n. So it's a sub n is the first term, which is a 7, plus the common difference, which is a 5, multiplied by n minus 1. The n is going to stay an n because they didn't say 10th or 12th or whatever. And yes, I should simplify that. So it's 7 plus 5n minus 5. So that gives me 5n plus 2. So my nth term is a sub n equals 5n plus 2. Okay, that 5n plus 2 is exactly what they gave me on the problem above. But I didn't have to figure it out for that one, but I did have to figure it out for that one. Okay, to find the 51st term, you have two options. You can put 51 in for n in that formula right there. I would rather you not do that. I would rather you use this guy right here. Okay, so let's go a sub 51 is the first term, which is a 7, plus the common difference, which is a 5. 51 minus 1 is 50. Okay, so then 5 times 50 is 250. Add 7 to it, you get 257, and that's your answer. And had you put 51 right there, you would have gotten the same answer either way. Okay, who says I'm good? Raise your hand, let me see. Okay, great. Question 3, find the 98th term of the sequence. Now everybody freeze right here for just a second. Okay, today's arithmetic And on Wednesday, when you watch the video of 3.3, it's geometric. Arithmetic is add, geometric is multiply. So if this problem is presented on your final exactly like this, you don't know which kind of sequence it is. You don't know if it's today's lesson or if it's next time's lesson. So the first thing you have to do is figure that out, okay? So I always do this. I say, what would I add to 2 to get 6? That would be 4. Is 6 plus 4 10? Yes, it is. So then as soon as I recognize that, then I'm going to write the word arithmetic. So then I know all the formulas that go with arithmetic. I don't get it confused with geometric, okay? So they're asking me for a specific term. So everybody go a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. So they're asking me for the 98th term. That would be a sub 98. That's the first term, which is a 2, plus the common difference, which is a 4. 98 minus 1 is 97. So that's it. So you just go 2 plus 4, parenthesis 97, close it off. Your answer is 390, and you're done. Very simple. Okay, that's why today's sweet, because of that the nice formulas. Okay, everybody freeze and just kind of watch this for a second. Okay, so there was this boy who was misbehaving in class, and look what his name was. Look at his last name. Are you friends with that kid? You're probably not friends with him, right? He's the Matrix guy. Okay, so he got in trouble. His teacher, he was annoying his teacher. His teacher put him in another room or in the corner and said, add the numbers from 1 to 100. And this kid answered almost immediately because he was so smart, because pretty soon he figured out matrices. Okay, so let's talk about how he did it. Okay, everybody go 1, adding the numbers 1 to 100. Did it almost immediately with no calculator. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus blah, blah, blah plus 97 plus 98 plus 99 plus 100. You're going to want to pay attention to this because it's going to help you remember the formula that you have to memorize. Okay? Does anybody remember, I'm sure you've seen this, how he did it? I'm sure you
add the two n numbers and they equal 101, and then the two next numbers equal 101.
Very good. Add these together. You get 101. Everybody write this down. Thank you. Add those together. You get 101. The next ones together, 101. Next ones, 101. So I have lots and lots and lots of 101s. If I have 100 numbers, how many 101s do I have? 50. Yeah. So if we just go 50 multiplied by 101, then my answer is 5,050. Okay. So let's come up with a formula of what that little kid did. So everybody go S sub n. S sub n stands for the sum of the first n terms, whatever n is. Okay. So what he did is he took 1 and he added it to 101. So that's the first term added to the last term. What's the symbolism for the first term? Tell me that. What's the symbolism for the first term? What have we been writing for it? A or a sub 1. Yeah, so let's go A, right? Plus, and then the symbolism for the last term. Well, if I'm trying to add the first n terms together, then the last term would be a sub, somebody tell me, a sub n. How did I figure out that 50? It wasn't the biggest number divided by 2. It was the number of numbers divided by 2. Well, I had 100 numbers, so yes, you're right. It's n divided by 2. Yeah. Okay, so right there, you're going to have to memorize that. Now, it does get just a little bit tricky because those are the only 2 formulas that you're going to learn today, the 2 that I've shown you. But when you watch the geometric lesson, 13.3, you get 3 more formulas. So you just have to memorize and keep them straight. So it gets a little tricky. Okay, here we go. Find the sum of the first n terms. I want you to circle n terms, and then I want you to put in quotes n in your answer. You're going to have an n in your answer. Okay, so S of n is equal to n divided by 2, a plus a sub n. There's your formula. Well, my n is going to stay in n because they didn't say find the sum of the first 52 terms or whatever. So I don't know what it is. So it has to just stay in n. But then I'm adding it to the, and then I'm multiplying it by the first term plus the last term. I don't know what the first term is, but can I find it out? I can find it out easily, right? Everybody go, a sub 1 is equal to 3 times 1 plus 5. Well, that gives me an 8. So this first term is an 8 plus, can anybody tell me what I would have put in for a sub n? Yeah, what they gave me, which is 3n plus 5, sure. So then I would simplify that, and then it's n divided by 2 multiplied by 3n plus 13. Now, that's where we're going to quit right there. I'm not going to, is it fully simplified? I'm just asking you this for the final. No, you know it's simplified when you don't have what in it anymore? Parentheses, yes. So that is not fully simplified, and that's fine. I'm sure that would be sufficient. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Okay, example 5. Find the sum of the first 30 terms. Okay, so let's decide if it's arithmetic or geometric. Okay, we know it's arithmetic. We haven't even learned the geometric lesson. But if this were on your final, you would have to decide. Okay, so look right here. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. So then the first thing I want you to do is write arithmetic right there. So then now that you know it's arithmetic, then you've got those 2 formulas, right? And they're saying find the sum. So then you say, okay, I'm going to write down the sum formula. And if I were you, I would write down the generic formula before I do anything. Then you remember the little boy, right, that added the numbers together, sum. So we took the number of numbers, divided it by 2, multiplied that by the first term plus the last term. Okay? So I'm looking for the sum of the first 30. So I know my n is a 30. So S of 30 is equal to 30 divided by 2. The first term is a 5 plus a sub n. Well, I know my n is a 30. So right there, I'm supposed to write a sub 30. What does a sub 30 stand for again? The 30th term. Do I know what the 30th term is? I don't. Okay, now everybody listen. If you write out the entire sequence and you've got 30 numbers and then you say, yay, there's my number, they're not going to accept it. You can't write it out to figure it out. How are you going to find out the 30th term, you guys? You know. Use the other formula, right? So everybody go a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. So that would be a sub 30 is the first term, which is a 5, plus the common difference, which is a 3. If I'm finding a sub 30, that means n is 30. 30 minus 1 is 29. So now I put that in my calculator, and I get 92. So now I can take that 92 and come over here and put it where it's supposed to go, because I'm really finding the sum. So that's going to be 15 parentheses, 5 plus 92. Close that off, and my answer is 1,455, and I'm done. Who says this is easy? Raise your hand. Give me a big raise. See what I put right there? Easy. Next ones you're going to feel the same, so that's good. Okay, question 6. Everybody in this room knows it's arithmetic. But I'm going to do this like it were on the final. I want to model with you how you're supposed to deal with this, okay? So look. What do I add to negative 2 to get a positive 5? 7. Is 5 plus 7 12? Yes. So then the next thing I think you should do is write down arithmetic. And then think of the formula. They're finding the sum. And so I'm going to go S sub n is n divided by 2, a plus a sub n. There's my formula. Okay. Now look at the challenge we have on this problem. This one's tougher. Probably the toughest one, but you can totally do it. Look at this. This right here, n is 1. This right here, n is 2. This right here, n is 3. This one right here, I have no idea. Okay, if you fill them all in and then count them up, you will not get credit for it. You can't do that. Okay, you have to use the formulas. So right now, I don't know what n is. Okay, it's not going to be an n because I got a number for my term. So I'm not going to let my n be an n. I have to let it be something, but right now I don't know what that is. Okay, so the sum of the first, I don't know how many terms, is I don't know how many terms, divided by 2. First term's a negative 2, plus a sub n. Somebody tell me what a sub n is. That's your last one. Yep, your nth term, 341. Now I've got my answer if I knew what my n was. Someone tell me how I'm going to find that n. Use the other formula, just like I did before, right? So everybody write a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. We already knew that a sub n was 341. That's my nth term. Is equal to the first term, which is a negative 3. What do I keep adding every time? 7 times n minus 1. Now I can find my n. Should I go in negative 2 plus 7 is a positive 5 over there on the right? No. Distribute. So you get 341 equals negative 2 plus 7n minus 7. That gives me 7n minus 9 equals 341. Move your 9 over. 7n equals 350. Divide by 7. N equals 50. Now that I know that's my 50th term, then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go S of 50 is 50 over 2. Now I can find it. 50 over 2 is 25, so go 25 parenthesis, negative 2 plus 341, close it off. Your answer is 8,475, and you're done. Do I think there will be a problem on your final from this section? I do not. Could there be? Yes, I know. Everyone's like, oh, I know. I've never seen one. Doesn't mean there won't be, but I've never seen an arithmetic. Okay, it would be nice. Okay, here's number 7. The corner seat of a stadium has 30 rows of chairs. So you know it's like when you're at a football game and you've got the goes like this, like across the front, and then you've got the end zone, and then you've got this weird section like transitioning, right? So it kind of looks like this. So let's draw a picture of it so you can get the idea. So start narrow and then it gets wider. Okay, so it has 30 rows. So let's go a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, blah, 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 a sub 30. Okay, so the first row has 10 seats. So let's put a 10 right there. Each successive row, so the next row, has 4 additional seats. So this one's going to be 14, and this one's going to be 18, and I don't know how many seats are in the top one. Okay, so this is obviously arithmetic. Now, let's write down our 2 formulas. Try to memorize it, like try to remember it right now. So specific term, a sub n equals, don't look anywhere. What do you start with on this? A plus, keep talking to me, d times n minus 1. And then S sub n is, tell me, n over 2, a plus a sub n. So those are my 2 formulas, right? Read the first question. How many seats are in the top row? So listen, are we looking for a specific term, or are we looking to add the terms together? Which one is it? It's the top one. It's a specific term. It's a specific row, the 30th row. Okay, so it's going to be the top formula. So we're going to go A sub 30 is the first one, which is 10, plus the common difference, which is a 4. 30 minus 1 is 29. So then I go 10 plus 4 times 29, close it off, hit enter, and I get 120 seats in the top row. Okay, read the next question. We're not done. How many seats are in the entire section? What's that? That's adding the first row to the second to the third all the way up. So that's a sum. Okay, so everybody go S sub 30 is equal to 30 divided by 2. First row is a 10 plus, somebody tell me what to put in for A sub n. Yeah, that's A sub 30, which is 126. So you're just going 15 multiplied by 136, and your answer is 2,040 seats total. That's it. Okay, question 8. Company A pays $2,400. I'm trying to look at how many we have left. Okay. Company A pays $2,400 with raises of $1,600 a year. Company B pays $28,000 with raises of $1,000 per year. Which company pays more in year 10? Which company is the better choice over 10 years? I want you to cross out is the better choice. Okay? Because the job that pays you the most may not be the job that's the better choice. Anybody that's ever had a rude boss, I've had a rude boss. You can pay them tons of money and it's still a horrible job because you're working with someone that is very rude to you. Okay? It's not worth it. So we're going to say which company pays more over 10 years. Okay? So let's divide this in half and let's go company A and company B. Okay? So company A, the first year, A sub 1 or A is 24,000. It's arithmetic, and I know my D is what, everybody? What am I adding every single year? 1,600. Okay, let's write this down for a sec. Everybody go A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3. So the first year, you make 24,000. The next year is 24,000 plus 1,600, which is 25,600. The year after that, another 1,600, and that's 27,200, etc., etc. Okay, so which company pays more in year 10? So I'm going to go A sub 10. Up above, let's write A sub n equals A plus D times n minus 1. That's the formula I'm using. So A sub 10 is the first year, which is 24,000, plus the difference, which is 1,600, and then 10 minus 1 is 9. So if you go 24,000 plus 1,600 times 9, hit enter, you get 38,400. Let's do the other one. So on company B, A sub 1 is $28,000. And then A sub 2 is $1,000 more, which is 29, and then A sub 3 is 30,000. So your common difference is 1,000. Okay, so A sub 10 is the first year, which is 28,000, plus the common difference, which is 1,000. 10 minus 1 is 9. So it's 28,000 plus 9,000, which is $37,000. Okay, now they're not asking me how much they make. They're saying which one pays more. Okay, so we're going to come down somewhere where you have room, and we're going to write company A pays more in year 10. Now read the second question. Which company pays more over the 10 years? What formula is that, guys? A sub n or is it S sub n? Somebody tell me. S sub n, first year plus the second, but right? So here's the formula, n divided by 2, a plus a sub n. So let's do the first one. So everybody go S sub n, S sub 10, pardon me, is equal to 10 divided by 2. First year is 24,000 plus, somebody tell me what to put in for a sub n.
38,400.
Yep, 38,400. Yep. So everybody go 5 parenthesis 24,000 plus 38,400, close it off, hit enter, and I get $312,000. That's in 10 years, over 10 years, right? Okay, let's do the next one. S sub 10 is the first year, is the 10 divided by 2, then the first year, 28,000, plus the 10th year, 37,000. So it's going to be 5 parenthesis 28,000 plus 37,000. Close it off, hit enter, and you get 325,000. I'm going to add dollar signs because it kind of bugs me. Okay, so which number is bigger? Company B. So we're going to say Company B pays more over 10 years. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Look right here for a second. We're done. Problem's over. Look at that right there. Someone explain that. You take 24,000, then you take the number of raises, the amount of the raise, and you multiply it by 9. How is that formula right? If I work there for 10 years, why is that 9? Right, but don't talk about the formula. I want to talk about your job and money. Say it again. It's not...
Get a bonus or a raise or whatever until your first year.
You have to go 1 year with no raise. You start at 24,000, you work for a year, and then you get a raise, and then you get a raise. So that's why you have to take the number of years there and subtract 1, because you're getting 9 raises and not 10 raises. Who says gotcha? Let me see. Okay, good. All right, now, these start getting kind of sketchy in here. Just a little bit. Actually, you know what? I have seen this on a final. It's been a while, but I have seen it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's do example 9. An arithmetic sequence has a common difference of 4, and a sub 4 is 13. Okay, so let's write down D equals 4. And then I want you to write a sub 4 equals 13. What that means is the fourth term is 13. Okay, now could you just write them out? Are you capable of doing that? Yes. Are they going to let you do that? No. It's going to be more like a sub 45. They're going to give you some horrible number that writing it out would be like horrible. Okay, everybody write a sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to take this formula right here, and I'm going to plug that information into it. Okay, so what that means is if n is 4, then my a sub n is 13. So I'm going to go 13 is equal to the first term, which I don't know, plus the common difference, which is a 4, and n is 4, so 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, so I put in my 13. I don't know the first term. I do know the difference is 4. I know. I also know that n is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1 is 3. Okay, so that means a plus 12 equals 13. So that tells me that a is 1. So now I know my first term is 1. Now they want the 12th term. So now it's easy. I just use that same formula. So I'm going to go a sub 12 is the first term, which is 1, plus the common difference, which is a 4. 12 minus 1 is 11. Multiply that out, and you get 45. So my 12th term is 45. Okay, next part. Use that formula to find the sum of the first 12 terms. Okay, so everybody write down the formula. S sub n equals n divided by 2, a plus a sub n. So the sum of the first 12 terms is 12 divided by 2. The first term we found over here to be 1 plus a sub n is 12, so that's a sub 12, which is 45. So that is just 6 multiplied by 46, and your answer is 276. That's it. Okay, this one I've seen. And then 11 is a repetition of 10. It hasn't been for a while, but that's why I added it in, because I saw it. It popped up, okay? C sub 4 equals 12. Everybody write this down. The fourth term is 12. That's what that means. C sub 8 is 20. That means the 8th term is 20. Please understand you cannot write those out and figure it all out. Now, let me say one thing. If you can't remember the formulas, if this is on the final, and you can't remember the formulas, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I would be desperate enough to do it and figure it out, and then try and show some work to support your answer. So don't do it unless you're really desperate. And then if you just can't do it, write it out and let's just cross our fingers. Okay? All right. So everybody go. A sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. Okay? So let's use this information in that formula, just like we did up above. So the term is 12. It's the first term, which I don't know, plus the common difference, which I don't know. But I do know that n is 4 because I'm finding c sub 4, right? So 4 minus 1 is 3. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, but now I'm doing it for c sub 8. So I'm going to go 20 is equal to my first term, which is an a, plus the common difference, which I don't know, but I do know that n is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. Okay, so now everybody write down a plus 3d equals 12, and a minus 7d is equal to, plus 7d is 20. So in order to find d, what am I going to do to that system? I'm going to do elimination. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of my a's. So I'm going to multiply by a negative. So and this was on the final fairly recently. Negative a minus 3d equals negative 12. A's cancel. So I have 4d equals 8. Divide, and I get d equals 2. That's all they asked me for. Now I'm going to go to part B. Find c sub 20. You guys, c sub 20 and a sub 20, it's the same thing. It's just a name, so don't let it freak you out. Okay, so the formula I'm using is right there. So a sub 20, or we'll call it c sub 20, it doesn't matter, is the first term. Okay, wait. I have to know what a is, and I don't know what a is. Someone tell me how we're going to find a. Plug your 2 in for d, right? I'll do it. Let's do it right there. So a plus 3 times 2 is 6 equals 12. Move my 6 over, so now I know a is 6. Why did I do that? I needed to know it for part B. Okay, so it's going to be a, which is a 6, plus the common difference, which is a 2. 20 minus 1 is 19. So I know that's going to be 6 plus 38, and that gives me 44, and that's my answer. We're going to do it again. Okay, so don't worry. A little more complicated. Here we go. Just so that you understand, draw an arrow to that right there, and just tell yourself the third term is negative 4. Draw an arrow to that guy right there, and say the 7th term is negative 16. Okay, let's do the same thing, nice and slowly. A sub n equals a plus d times n minus 1. I'm going to use that formula and this information. So the term -4 is A, which is the first one. I don't know what that is. Common difference, I don't know what that is. But I do know that n is a 3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Now let's do this one. Yes. Say it again. Say it really loud. No. N is 3. So 3 subtract 1 is 2. Okay? Okay, now let's do a -16. So -16 equals A plus the common difference. N is a 7. So 7 minus 1 is 6. Okay? I'm going to change the signs of that right there. So then I have 4 equals -A minus 2D. You could put D and in parentheses put a 2. It's the same thing. Those cancel out. So I have -12 equals 6D minus 2D is 4D. So now I know D is a -3. Now I have to find A to do part B. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay. So I'm going to put it right there. So I'm going to go A. D times 2, that's -6 equals -4. Pull my -6 over and I get A equals 2. I'm not going to box it. They didn't ask me to find it. I just know I need to. Okay, down here, B sub 26, who cares if it's A or B or C? It just means the only time you ever do sum if it's S. Okay, so B sub 26 is the first term, which we now know is a 2, plus the common difference. I'm not going to put a plus. I'm just going to put -3. 26 minus 1 is 25. So that's 2 minus 75, which gives me a -73, and I'm done. Who says I'm good? Raise your hand. Let me see how you're feeling. Okay. We're done. That was it. Okay. 42